Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 25th July 2016. The first article is related to the GST, and the deadlock is still going on GST. Now let us see what are the demands of the opposition. The first thing, this is a revenue neutral model. It means that whatever the losses incurred by the states will be compensated by the center. In this, and it is also a destination based tax. It means that goods are taxed at the point of sale rather than at the point of production. And the states which are with manufacturing base, they are asking for a special levy of 1%, which is being opposed. And the second thing is there shall be a grievance redressal system and a dispute resolution mechanism. And Tamil Nadu and Congress demand for this dispute resolution mechanism. And the second thing is the rate of tax. Now, it can be somewhere between 15 to 20%. Now, the constitution or the bill do not specify a rate, and it is left to the government discretion. So, in this context, what is being expected is, what the Congress is expecting is this: there shall be a constitutional upper limit for the tax rate that is going to be imposed under GST. So these are the deadlock issues between center and the states. And you know that the tax is a matter in the Schedule 7. So any amendment to this, it has to be through a special majority in the parliament and approval of the states. And the government has no majority in Rajya Sabha. Obviously, it has to take the support of the other parties. Now, coming to this Go Raksha or else protection of the cows. So you know that the protection of the cows, it has more become an issue that is related to social disorderliness. Hooliganism, vigilantism is growing around cow. So in this context, the cow protection is getting antagonized to Dalits, that is, and also to the minorities. Now in this case, the violence is taking more a structural form. So these are not sporadic events. They are getting organized, they are getting structured, and there is a clear political motive that appears behind this. So the politics of cow are growing in India, and these are built on the Dalits and minorities' fear. So that's what this article talks about. There is no message in it other than that. Now coming to the scientific literature. So in this case, a credible scientific literature, it is necessary for a country's growth. And scientific literature, it need to be properly verified and plagiarism need to be arrested. And on the other hand, fabrication of data will have many wrong consequences because the existing scientific data leads to the building of further of scientific data. So a proper work on science will lead to the duplication of work in the future. So in this case, a person who is a senior scientist working with Chandigarh-based Institute of Microbial Technology, who was involved with the fabrication of the data, he was suspended from the organization. So if you take in the United States, the Office of Research Integrity exists. So this promotes for integrity and also creditworthiness of a particular researcher. But in India, repeatedly we see this fabrication and fraudulence on scientific community. So in this case, India also need to come up with a kind of office which promotes the integrity in the research. So in these circumstances, the organizations always they try to protect their people rather than punish them when this kind of allegations surface. But IM Tech has immediately took the action on the senior scientist, which is a welcome step. Now coming to 1991 situation. Now let's see, after 1989 elections, slowly there is a wave of uncertainty till 1991, and the government in 1991 was also a minority government. VP Singh government followed by Chandrasekhar followed by PV Narasimha Rao government. The first two governments are coalition governments, and the PV Narasimha Rao government, it's a minority government. And most important reforms were undertaken during this era. So this shows that the political unanimity with regard to the problems of national importance. And the second thing is, Indian politics are very resilient in the national interest. And in spite of the differences within the party and outside the party, the maneuverability of the reforms brought in by P.V. Narasimha Rao is really commendable. Now, in this article, which the beautiful party is effective government, sir. So we developed the markets, or we opened up the markets in 1991. The reforms are not just about markets. The reforms are the means towards the well-being of the people. So in this case, the end is the well-being and reform is a means towards that particular well-being. So the important point I want to drive is an effective government is necessary for the efficient functioning of the markets. It means without a strong state, a strong market cannot prevail. That is the reason why in the era of globalization, we more see the strongly governed countries, they have the better wealth and better functioning markets. Now coming to Erdogan's coup. You know that recently a military coup happened in Turkey. Then, after the consequences, did authoritarian tendencies of President Erdogan are going to come down, or he is going to gain out of this political capital that has come from the coup? Now, if you see his reactions, he blamed Mr. Gulen, who is based in USA, Fethullah Gulen, as responsible for this. Now, already, Mr. Erdogan's popularity, it has been built on some Islamic more and more the conservative tendencies towards the religion. And the second thing is, and is crushing off the Kurdish autonomy demands. And the third thing, the element of secularism, which was built into the very fabric of Turkish society, it is getting diluted. So, in spite of correcting his mistakes, Erdogan is using this coup as to consolidate its powers against his opponents. And even he is crushing the liberals, and he is also rubbing the military on the wrong side. This development of conflict within the society and also conflict with the military is not in the long-term interests of the Turkey. Now, next coming to bioinformatics. So where we use the biology for the information technology, simply we call bioinformatics. Now let's say, in the good olden days, we used to store the data in a floppy. Then we started storing the data in compact discs, and then DVDs, today hard disks. Now, if I have a floppy, which was long back, and I don't have a device to retrieve the information from that. As the technology is fast evolving, the world tools and equipment are becoming obsolete. So in this case, today the technology is stores the information in binary variables 010001 or something. It means 0 or 1. In only 2 words it reads everything. So instead of that, our DNA, if you observe, it reads in 4 nuclear acids. So in this case, adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. So if you can bring in this 4 code into the information technology, then it can increase, it can store the large information in very short space. So it improves the efficiency of information retrieval too. So that is what is called as DNA storage, which the Microsoft is working on. Coming to the Afghanistan. If you take India's policy towards Afghanistan, it is called goodwill diplomacy. It means that we want to maintain a policy where India has to build the trust with the people. And the government is not inclined to supply the defense equipment, especially the lethal weaponry to Afghanistan. So in this case, the Modi's government, it has deviated from this norm. Last time when Prime Minister Modi visited Afghanistan, he has provided them with the Mi-25 helicopters. So in this context, the Afghanistan ambassador to India, so Mr. Abdali, what he says is, India is trying to see the Afghanistan from the Pakistan dimension. Or India don't want to take the Pakistan on the wrong side. That's why it don't want to have a defense cooperation. So on the other hand, Afghanistan Army Chief is visiting India, and the major issues of discussion will be the training of the Afghanistan troops and also providing for defense cooperation to the Afghanistan, etc. Now, let's see the center-state financial relations. So with regard to this, so there is a lot of anomaly in the sharing of funds. One is special category states have created this anomaly, and added to that, the border states need more funds, or disturbed states need more funds, etc. If you take Jammu and Kashmir, it received 10% of the central funds between 2004 and 2016, and it constitutes only 1% of the population. On the other hand, if you see UP, which has 13% of the population, but received only around 8.2% of the total funds, which are transferred from center to states. It means that we can support this point two ways. One is the country or the center is aiming for balanced regional development and national integrity as priority. On the other side, we can also see that that is an injustice which is being done to the states which maintain the better growth, law and order, etc., or have reduced their population, etc. So the southern states generally claim that they are being punished for their better performance by the center, because the criteria on which the transfers are made, they give excessive weightage to the population and also the local disturbances, etc. So these are the articles for today. Thank you very much.